It's
Um,
good to hear. No worries about the delay. Obviously, you're busy. I get it.
Sorry, I just like I came back from practice and I had students who wanted a study session and I was like, okay, but we're good. We're good.
No problem. I haven't used Zoom since college. This is
I know,
weird.
I know, I know.
It's
I
funny.
haven't used Zoom since COVID, but
That's funny.
um,
Well, I'm glad it worked out. I'm sorry my schedule sucks. We end up having to do a quick change today, and so I had to do this remotely, but
no, it's
I'm
okay.
glad it worked out.
Yeah. Um, and actually, even like just for the fun of it, even do you said you work on Tuesday?
Yeah, I sure do. So I can come in early Tuesday if you'd like to do
No, not even
something.
that. Can I do a ride along that day?
Um, put
A request
you'll
for
have to
the day?
request it. Yeah, if you put something in Monday and yeah, if you wanted to like come in and see what the like how our patrol routes are, stuff like that. Yeah, that'd be cool for your. I don't know what kind of project you're doing, but
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's for
Okay.
media. Yeah,
Okay. Um, so I think I'm gonna get my camera off just so it doesn't record me.
sure.
All right. Um, okay. So basically what we're just going to do this project on is kind of like campus safety. So we're also comparing like UIndy to like Ivy Tech and IUPY and all some other universities in Indy just to like see how everyone differs in procedures and how similar it is to just IMPD in general and stuff because all of these police departments on campus are like a branch of IMPD, so we're just kind of like seeing how the campus safety differs.
Sure,
Um, and so initially, this all started just because of that GV break-in that happened just recently.
sure.
And I know that Pay and all the reports say that you were the one that responded to it.
I actually wasn't working that day, but
Oh,
we have another officer. His name's Corey Rapala. He was the primary officer on that incident that day. We are friends though, but we
okay.
he was the one working. Yeah,
Okay. So I mean, those kind of happen quite frequently. And I mean, I know I live in GV and then we get some of those watchdogs. So how long does it take? What is the standard for UND police to arrive on a scene like that?
sure. That's a great question. I appreciate you asking that.
Hmm.
Typically our response time, due to the staffing that we have, we actually are on scene within, if not seconds or minutes. And this is just purely because of our patrol district. It's primarily campus, so we you'll often see our police cars either parked out at certain parking lots or we'll be in front of Switzer. I often like to sit right there at Hannah and Wesley, and it gets me pretty close to anything that may come out, especially at GV. And when we're responding to critical incidents like that, obviously we thank our campus community because when they keep a watchful eye and they alert us quick, we can get there quicker. So obviously in situations like that, it's actually not that often. The watchdogs are purely for the safety of the community, and I think that was our only break-in for the year. So it was one of those things that it may seem like the watchdogs come out often, but it's one of those things that we like to, alert our campus community if there's something that they need to know about for their safety, and for the security of campus. But our response times are quick. I would say that, um, I definitely think that our quick and efficient response times are due to our training and our small patrol district.
Yeah. And that time, seconds to minutes, is that like a mandatory part of your training? They say, like, well, you need to be at the scene within this many minutes. Or is it just because you guys are always conveniently patrolling around the area?
I would definitely say it's more of a convenience factor. Obviously, the closer we are, the better. Not that that's necessarily mandatory, but more or less that the expectation is that if we have a run come out, that we get there pretty quick. Obviously, the safety of our campus is our primary concern. So response times are definitely one of the most important things that we do.
Yeah. And so with the like a break-in incidents, what is the procedure from the moment you get on scene to the moment you guys can safely say that the area is safe?
Sure, that's a great question. With uh, tense, uncertain, and rapidly evolving situations, um, our primary and first thing that we do is the response. Get as much information as we can, and then once we get on scene, we want to try and determine, you know, no matter what the situation is, where if there's a threat, if there's not a threat, you know, the questions we ask ourselves are who, what, where, why, and when. So those, if we can answer those questions in order and get that figured out as quick as possible, then we can move on to resolving the situation. And even if we need to, we can alert the campus and let them know that the issue has been resolved.
Okay. Did you ever respond to any of the GV break-ins at all?
No, I was, and you say GB break-ins. Do you mean the one that occurred where
There was
we?
one that, yeah, there was one that occurred this year, and then there was another one that occurred last year.
Hmm.
Well, I think someone just, I think it was honestly just a homeless man who got in through the doors because it was unlocked and it was just roaming around. Like it wasn't any, like he didn't even have any weapons or anything. But
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, no, I wasn't. I mean, I've responded to situations where we have people who shouldn't be on campus, and
Mhm.
we get, you know, either through the Windy app or through 911 call, we get information about that. We get on scene pretty quick and determine if they need to be removed from campus or if
Yeah,
they do have a contractual interest there. But in terms of the GB break-ins, I didn't respond to those.
okay. Um, and I know that you said that the student safety is your main priority and everything. So, with situations like that, is your recommendation, is the police's recommendation that everyone stays, inside their apartments and then just, um, because I've had some friends, for example, in this last one that happened this year, that were trying to get back to their apartments and they ended up seeing the guy who was holding like handles of alcohol, and obviously this was while the police was still doing their patrols around the building. So how is the recommendation for students during situations like this?
Sure. You know, great question. I think something that we definitely learn from every incident. So something that may happen, it's a great training point. Obviously, we try to take the most effective things, and I think this most recent thing taught us a lot about, you know, we're very thankful that our campus community got us alerted very quickly, and like as you said, that somebody saw something and they said something. So that is the biggest ask that we have for our campus community is just if you see something, say something, and especially once police get on scene, try to cooperate and just listen to what we have to say. As well as if we put out a community alert via watchdog or email, just be sure to read the whole email and see exactly because there was an email that detailed out the events and I think even said uh, just be aware of the situation and don't go to the area, stuff like that. So if there's specific instructions, we just ask that you reflect on those instructions and just try to be aware of those instructions that we send out because they are very important. If there's something that we need to do, we will make sure it gets done and get the campus included in that as well.
And Tyler, going into the watchdog alerts,
Sure,
um, I just want to ask, I know you guys have a whole handbook on how they are sent out and what the
sure.
guidelines are. Is that something you guys follow to the T or no? Like, is that something that it just kind of varies on the situation?
You know, to be honest, I'm not exactly sure. I'm not the one that sends out the watchdog alerts.
Mhm.
That is actually up to our supervisors. So if I'm just a basic patrolman, I go to a scene, I say, "Hey, I've got this situation going on." They will then determine if an alert needs to be sent out or not,
Okay.
and that is kind of how we do that. But in terms of sending them out and doing it every time, I'm not sure because I just send out the information to my supervisor and then he would take it from there.
Okay. And so I just kind of want to ask a little bit about the difference, especially in response time to a situation like a break-in or a robbery or anything that is more on the dangerous sides to students,
Sure.
and between like noise complaints or party complaints or, drug complaints or alcohol complaints. Like, what is the difference in response time in that sense?
Sure, that's a great question. The main difference is that especially with critical incidents that would require a quicker response time. Obviously, we receive a lot of training in emergency vehicle operations. So obviously, we have red lights, blue lights, and sirens. So in the event that we would need to get somewhere quickly, we are trained to do so. So obviously we have that equipment available to us if we need to utilize it. Versus like a noise complaint, we can just drive there in normal conditions to address the situation properly. Obviously, you bring up a great point. What's the difference? Is that time? Time is the big difference. So if we need to get there quickly, obviously police officers in the state of Indiana are trained and authorized to utilize their equipment to get there quicker. So that is the main difference.
Okay. Because I think what we hear a lot from the community too, and there's been newspaper articles written about this in the Reflector and everything, is that sometimes students feel as if they're the police officers are more likely to be responding faster and just go to the party situations faster than they are other situations, such as like a robbery or a break-in. And so that's the only reason why I was asking if there's like any difference. I mean, obviously with parties or noise complaints, there isn't such a threat to the campus as another threatening situation.
Sure. Yeah, I'm not sure about the data on that, but I can definitely tell you, based on my experience, if I have a burglary call come out, I'll be running quicker to that than I would be a noise
Mhm.
complaint. And sometimes, if there is a party, if there's medical emergencies that are also involved with parties or a lot of noise complaints, those would require us to respond quickly because anytime there's a threat to life or property, that would require a quicker response.
Of course. Um, and I kind of want to ask then, why do you think it's important for students to have, an established trust interactions with officers?
That's a great question. I think that um, our campus community is something that we obviously, especially as I've joined this just job, I've definitely felt a great support from our campus community, and I've learned a lot from our students, and I think I've tried to teach a lot to our students as well. It's really important because obviously we are in a unique situation where we are a smaller campus community versus like IUPUI. They're a larger campus community, but they also have their own police department. I'd say our ratio to police officers for students, I'm not exactly sure on the number, but I'd say it's definitely a better ratio that we can, closely interact with our students and learn from them because obviously we're a higher institution, a higher educational institution. And to be able to learn from our students is something that we definitely pride ourselves on. Um, we do a lot of trainings with our student organizations. We just did one recently where it's a response to a critical medical situation in one of our buildings. So we teamed up with the nursing students, and they taught us a lot about medical responses, triaging. It was really a great learning experience, and I think that we can all learn from each other, especially if we have those great connections built up and we use them. So we can all learn from each other, and that's just one of those great things that we have available to us as with the police department and the campus community. So building that trust and safety is knowing that we can learn together and we can train together and make a better environment for everyone.
I saw that about the nursing. That was actually really cool that you guys could partner up with them and, just share lessons with each other, both learning from each other. Um,
Absolutely.
And I know that a lot of you cadets joined the program early, and I know at least you and Imagine, you both were students at UIndy. So how do you feel like being a student here and becoming now part of UIndy Police is beneficial for you or the other officers or staying in a part of this community?
Sure, it's a great question. For me, it was knowing the campus community, knowing the people that I serve. So, being a student here for 4 years, I was also a resident assistant, so an RA, one of our freshman dorms for 2 years, and it definitely teaches me a lot about the type of students that I have that we protect and keep safe, as well as the campus community, our staff. And just in general, the knowledge of the buildings and the area. I think that's a really important trait that we try to look for, and definitely when we hire people that obviously you can be taught geography for the area and stuff like that, but knowing um, the type of population that you serve, we're not IMPD. We don't have to worry about 100,000 people. We just have to worry about our general campus population and the surrounding campus community. So I definitely feel like having been here for 4 years, I know my buildings, I know my people, and it's definitely a big edge up, especially in the hiring process, I guess you could say. If anybody was interested in doing that route as a freshman, studying criminal justice, and then joining the cadet program, and then going to the academy, it's a great program that is available to our students, and definitely allows them to see a different side of the campus community, other than just being a student, also being a security authority on campus.
Sure. And how do you think is your guys' relationship with Indianapolis Police Department? Do you feel like they are helpful when needed, or it could be better?
I would say we have a pretty solid relationship with our IMPD friends and fellow officers on that department. We have a mutual aid agreement with that department. So we collaborate with each other often. Sometimes IMPD will need our assistance on scenes, and we need theirs. So it's definitely a great trust and a great relationship that we built up with each other early on. I mean, this was something that was created way before um, I think I even was a student. It was many years ago when the department was first built, and then we've just enhanced that relationship since. I would definitely say that they're a great partner and they're a great agency, and they have a lot of resources available to them. So we're very thankful for their assistance.
And so because of that partnership, the reason I asked first is because I want to go into asking about the Grady Walk and the escort program that you guys have, because I personally have experienced that too, where it's probably 1 a.m. and you're trying to walk from the library back to somewhere and you don't feel safe and you want to call UND police to have you walk you home. And the issue with that is it takes you first to the non-emergency line at IMPD. And the problem is sometimes these calls last for like 20 minutes long, where you're just waiting for somebody to pick up, because obviously it's not an emergency. But by that point, you kind of could have just walked yourself home, and then I don't know, anything could happen. And so
Sure.
I'm wondering if you guys had ever considered changing that, because of the time and how complicated it is to get a hold of you guys when it's not an emergency.
Sure, I definitely understand the confusion there. We have addressed this issue, and so the officers are required to respond to several different things. We have all those different polls on campus, the emergency call boxes. We have a direct response to those, so we do carry a device with us that will allow us to speak directly to those, as well as we do have a safety walk phone line, which is, if you check, I believe every student can check their UND email for the Grady Walk Safety Program, and they list a number in there. We do answer that line directly, so an officer would be available to you. And obviously, I would always recommend calling the non-emergency number, because we carry radios that connect us straight to 911 dispatch that would allow us to receive that call. However, I would highly encourage that UND students check their email, because there is a Grady Walk line in there, and we can answer that line directly. It's purely just for the Grady Walk Safety Program, which is why we carry that line with us.
Okay. Good. I'll put that in there. That's very important to clear up.
Sure.
And I think just kind of to end all of this, since our is just talking about campus safety and procedures and everything. So Tyler, do you think campus is safe, and do you think there could be any improvements made?
Obviously, there's always areas for improvement, right? I, however, think that the campus is very safe. Being a student there for 4 years, and now being a police officer and seeing the other side of things for over a year, I can definitely tell you campus is very safe. Our police department works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And we make sure that the campus is covered. There will never be a time where campus is not covered. So obviously, we work really hard to make sure that the students try to feel that safety as well. And additionally, it's just the campus is a good area. I think that the general area of campus is just I used to go for runs all the time on campus. I love to enjoy our open spaces, as well as just go for a walk on a nice day. And I think that that's something that our students can definitely enjoy, and definitely is unique to us, just because of our general location and our campus police as well. Our general partners at IMPD also do a great job of keeping the surrounding area safe as well. So I definitely think that when asked that question, I absolutely agree. I think that campus is very safe.
Okay. Is there anything else I haven't asked that you think is important to add or you want to add for the sake of it all?
Sure. My general tip for everyone is, when asked about crime, because crime will occur, it's just something that, is part of life. People have free will and they make decisions, right? Some of them aren't good. So I think that my general tip is always secure your belongings, always lock your doors. Anytime, I don't think there's ever a time where I've left my car doors unlocked or my dorm room unlocked, especially if I lived with other people. I cared about their belongings as well as mine, so I'd always lock my doors. Crime is mostly by opportunity. A lot of criminals take the easy way for a crime, so um, you know, obviously that crime is not a big deal, or well, not a big deal. I'm sorry, it's not a prominent issue that we face. It's just one of those things that got to be aware of what creates the opportunity for a crime to occur, and like leaving your car doors unlocked or leaving your dorm room unlocked. I would always recommend just locking your belongings up and making things secure. That way, there's no opportunities available there.
And obviously, if something happens, UND Police is right there along the way.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Tyler,
No
for doing this.
problem.
I really appreciate it.
That's my
Um,
pleasure.
your answers were great. Highly put UND Police on the pedestal, which is kind of what we're trying
That's
to do.
great.
I mean, we're
Yeah,
just trying to show the difference in campus safeties and everything, and that
sure.
um I guess maybe like debunk a little bit of those rumors how UND Police sucks and only cares about
Yeah.
tickets.
It's always tough because, obviously, I mean, given the situation we are in, it's, there's always questions of what if, why does this happen? And sometimes we don't know either. But the only thing we can do is get there and try to solve the problem
Yeah.
as quick as possible. It's just one of
Yeah.
the things that, yeah,
And I feel like especially with this generation, I think that was this in 2021 when there was a dead guy found behind Corey Brett's. Well, he was shot first.
yeah.
So I think
Yeah, that was that last, let me think, 2 years ago now.
yeah, that was
And
2021.
I think it was in September. Or
Yeah.
no, maybe it was like a year and a half ago, but I know what you're talking about.
I think in that situation, especially, I think students just felt a little like very shut out. And I think that's the problem with this, our generation now. We just want to feel included and we just want to
Sure.
know. Like, obviously, we knew that we were safe because obviously there's a lot of police officers and they were making sure everybody was fine. But I think it's the lack of information that made everybody just feel like, okay, well, they're hiding stuff from us and they don't want to tell us anything. And it was just because of that. And obviously, I don't think they understand that with investigations like that, nothing can be public. But also,
Yeah, a
people like
lot of times it's need to know basis type stuff, especially when
true, but Corey
the
V, for
investigation's going on. Yeah,
example, Corey V wasn't the smartest human being over here. And she just made several posts on the UND app back in the day saying, nothing's happening, just go back to your dorm rooms. And so I think stuff like that coming from important people in the university could have been avoided. Like she could have said, all you need to know is there was a situation and the police has secured the area and they're investigating, period.
yeah,
And not just say like, nothing's happening, just ignore it.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I wasn't working here during that time, but I
Yeah.
definitely I was watching the news a lot. That was my only source of info for that situation, other than I had friends on the department. So I can definitely understand the confusion there. But one of the things, it's we have a lot of new people working for us as well as new leadership. So
That's good.
you kind of see a lot of different changes come from that. So
How is that new leadership?
it's good. Yeah, it's real good. We have a very strong base up there, and
That's
it's a
good.
great department. It's a great department to work for. I have nothing to complain about. I'm happy there. So
Okay. Is he a good guy?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's
he's great.
good.
Yeah. Well, currently Pate's our interim chief, so
Yeah.
he's doing a great job of handling that position and obviously answering questions for the public. And I think he's been very hands on, essentially with folks like getting up there doing interviews with UNDTV and
Yeah.
putting out posts and stuff like that. He's a solid guy. He's got his master's. He's a master instructor, which takes several years to complete.
Mm.
He's a phenomenal guy.
So technically, he's your public information officer for UND Police?
I would say anything that needs addressed, he would be the one to put it out.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Well, I'm gonna send a request. Do I just email? Maybe?
So go in Monday, and there's a form you fill out. You could just fill it out right there at the PD. Let me see, what time is it now? I mean, they're probably gonna. You could. I mean, you could call in. I don't know. I'm trying to think last minute to get you your. You could reach out today. Problem is, it's Friday, and I think most people have probably already left because it's a administration
Yeah.
Friday. Some folks get out a little earlier than
Yeah.
others, but typically our administration will like our front office staff will still be in till 5. So you can put something in today and just call in and say, hey, I'm looking to do a ride along, and they'll send you the form. And you could just turn it in on Tuesday. That'd probably be your best bet. Or actually, this would probably be easier. Are you on campus right now?
Mm-hmm.
You know where the PD is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just swing by there before 5 o'clock, and there should be an officer working, and just ask for a rider form, fill it out, and then turn it in Monday. They should be able to help you out.
Okay. All right. I'll do that. But thank you so much for doing this interview. I really
Yeah.
appreciate
Yeah, no problem. Anything I can do to help. It's my pleasure.
it. Okay. Well, have a good
All right.
weekend, Tyler. Thank
Yep.
you.
You too. Thanks. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.